Welcome to That's What She Said, where we'll spill the tea on women empowerment in the Great Lakes Bay region with your host, Christiana Malacara.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to That's What She Said with me, Christiana Malacara. Thank you for being here and taking the time out of your day to invest in yourself and learn about the many wonderful women of the Great Lakes Bay region. I want to say thank you. I probably start out every episode by saying thank you, but it really does mean a lot. And those two words in hindsight, we really don't say them as much as we should. But we probably don't hear them as much as we should either. So take time to reflect on that. That was kind of just an out of the blue thought, but thank you so much for being here and supporting That's What She Said in the many ways that there are to tune in. So if you see our faces, yay, that is Thursday at 1:30, and you can find us live on Facebook or YouTube Thursdays at 1:30. If you're hearing us over the radio waves, that would be a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. or a Sunday evening at 6, which is one of my favorite times to tune in just to get a good reset to your week. But you can always tune in 24/7 and view the entire collection of That's What She Said episodes on anywhere that you get your podcast. So I want to talk a little bit this morning about advocating for yourself. Women are always encouraged to step up and be courageous and be bold. And if that is, going into a doctor's appointment and really advocating for yourself medically, if that's in a relationship and really just saying, hey, I understand your perspective, but this is mine. But a lot of times advocating takes a toll on us. It can take a toll on your body. It can take a toll on your mindset. And some of that we deflect onto the wrong people when we are under pressure to literally serve ourselves. So for those that follow and have been following, Christiana, myself, now journals. I am that girl. And I came across a time fairly recently where I had to advocate for myself. And I needed to say something. And so I wrote it down, and then I just went and said it. I didn't overthink the situation. I didn't let it snowball into an amount of stress that would end up getting deflected to somebody else. So as you navigate through your week, just think about that. Yes, most definitely advocate for yourself in whichever way that's possible for you to do at that time. But make sure that stays with you, because that is a stressful thing to do. And you can do it, girl. I believe in you. So I do want to say, first, thank you for listening. Second, if you have someone in your life or that you are just like, this person needs to be on That's What She Said, let me know. Send me a Facebook message, email me, do all the things. I'm just a Google away, because I really am excited to move into the next few months here, and we want to hear from you. So I have a guest today. She's one of my favorite people. I've known her for a very, very long time. And that would be Ernestina Smith. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. What an honor. I am so excited.
It's true. We have known each other for a very long time.
Yes.
I'm sure you can picture me running through church with pigtails if we go back that far. So it is a very big honor to have you here with me and have a conversation about your journey. But before we dig into that, can you introduce yourself and share how the community might know you?
Yes. Well, you said my name, Ernestina. I'm also known in the community as Julie. And that's a story that goes back when my mother and my godmother were best friends, and they knew another girl from school, and they said, oh my gosh, and she was just popular girl, and they just said, whoever has the first girl, we're going to name her Julie. And so along the lines on one of the sacraments, and my godmother named me Julie, but my father named me Ernestina. My father named all of us girls. And going back to I may have known you back in pigtails or in church, if you will. My mother was very good friends with your grandmother.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm talking like really way back. So,
Generational.
yes, generational.
Yeah.
And then I went to school with one of your aunts. So, Maria.
We have deep roots.
Yes, we do. Strong and long and generational roots.
Yes.
People may know me as I do a lot of things as far as like one-on-one. It is a community, but a community in a village. And as a mentor for women and in women's ministry, but I also have my husband and I have a successful businesses that we do. And I'm also a property manager. And so how I started that property management position is I started leasing out homes because at one point we had 5 homes that we were leasing. So my husband and I are both retired. We retired in 2011, but we already knew, we had already had it planned out what we wanted to do. And so for those of you who know that when you do retire, like you're not getting that income in like it would flow in, but that supplemental income. And so now we are doing what we love.
Oh, wow.
And so it is a journey. I love it. We love what we do, and it shows in our work and what we do. And as far as like being in women's ministry and touching one life at a time, one woman at a time. And that is my passion and my reason and my purpose in life.
Wow. Wow. For those of you who are just listening on air, the radiance and glow just lit up in the room because Ernestina is saying things along the lines of that you're stepping into a purpose.
Yes.
And not many women can say that. So at a point navigating to where you're at now, I'm going to go back to my original, I guess the original intro and saying, advocating for yourself, right? And being able to step up and say, hey, this is me and this is what I want to do. Was there a time or times in your life where you're like, this is my purpose. I see it, but I need to advocate for myself now to get there?
You know, I've been pondering and reflecting since we met a month ago, Christiana. So I was always, my grandfather called me Casper the Friendly Ghost. And I also had a lot of curls. So I was also called Shirley Temple because of my curls. Both of those were friendly. Okay, they were happy. If you go back to Casper the Friendly Ghost, you know, and Shirley Temple and her dancing and her smiling, and that was me. But Christiana, as I got older in my teens, and then even in my mid 20s, early 30s, it wasn't so happy. It wasn't a happy time. If I could say, it was a dark time in my life. Not because of what anyone done, but because of the choices that I made. Therefore, in that dark time, what I thought was like, what am I, you know, I'm never going to amount to anything, and or what am I doing with myself? It turned out to be, if you will, a light in my path, because I felt that I was alone in my decisions that I made, not thinking at the time, but what has bloomed from that. And if I had not gone through all of those dark times or going back into that time, then I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. And so I had, in order to get through, I had to go through to come out on the other side so that I can share with another woman. And so going back to that advocating, I felt that I had my mouth, I mean, I couldn't open up. It was shut because of the past things that I did. I just felt ashamed. And so there's like a lot of emotions that you go through there. But then when I found out that wow, something just rose up, talking about risen or resurrected in me, and that I was able to just step out of that and not tolerate, or that is not me. There's something inside of me roaring. And then that's when I was able to step out. But when I
Okay.
stepped out, it was like, oh, I did that.
You
Oh my
had the
gosh.
so you're saying that there was issues, a dark time of your
Yes.
life, which some of our listeners can resonate with, right? So
Yes,
let's
absolutely.
take this a little bit more step by step. And for anyone in very like a vague notion, if they're going through something that is challenging and they're feeling these emotions that you did in you said your 20s, of I'm making this decision and I'm making it all by myself. And you might have been, right?
Yes.
We're all responsible to a certain extent of our decision making and that cause and effect, right?
Hmm.
But say we have a listener who's just feeling that, like, I feel alone. I made this decision. I'm living with this now, but what do I do? What are maybe one or two steps that she can do to reassure herself that she's not alone and she can get through this?
I'd like to start back, and it was not so much in my 20s and 30s. That's when I was feeling the effect. I was a teen when I started making the wrong choices. And one of them is teen pregnancy. I was in I was actually 18, and it was my senior year.
Mm.
And I found out that I was expecting, and I had to drop out of school.
Oh,
I didn't have to, but I was just pulled out of school, and I was sent away. So being pregnant and not knowing and not understanding, and then being sent away, that felt, um,
alone.
you felt very, very alone. And so that was my first experience as a trauma, if you will, and then having to be that single mom and having to figure all these things out. I thank God for my mother. My mother, she was a praying, and still is a praying woman warrior, and I know that that's a reflection on me and my other siblings. But she was a mother who never gave up on me. Even though we felt, or I felt hopeless, or I felt lonely, she always stood in the gap. And I could even feel those prayers, but that still doesn't help with, your emotions. It's not something that, it comes and then it goes, or you're past. I mean, sometimes it just sticks with you. And that's what I want to tell women, that I'm sure you've heard, your past does not determine your future.
Ooh,
And I
yeah.
am here to say, and I am here living it, that it does not determine your future, that you have something inside of you that just needs to be rebirthed. And now more women are speaking out, and more women are encouraging and helping each other, and not so much putting down or jealous or envious. No. And I hope that I have never have done that, or make a woman feel small. No, you begin where you are at. Be with someone, and I encourage you to find someone.
I like that part. You begin where you're at. So there's this constant cycle of reset. I can reset when I want, where I want, with whom I want.
Yes.
And this time of, it's, and I don't know if this is the best way to say it, but like, begin where you're at, because it's okay. It's not that serious. We don't need to, let's reset in 10 years. Let's reset in 5 years. Let's reset when we finish this degree. Let's reset when the baby's 5. When, there's all these like milestones that women have kind of cooked up of saying, I'll do that then. But you're saying you can start where you're at now.
Absolutely.
So then I'm going to ask you this. So you're in high school and you're like, I'm expecting. And you're telling your family, your mom and dad, your friends, and the emotion of leaving school, being, you saying you're replaced somewhere
Yes.
else.
Mhm.
During that time, what did you lean on? Who did you lean on to empower you to get through this time?
I had a grandmother, my mother's mother, and she lived in Dallas, Texas. And she never brought anything up. Never. She always saw me as me. She seen something in me. She didn't treat me less than. And so I always looked up to her, and up until the day that she left this earth, she was really my best friend, my grandmother. And she shared so many things. When I would open up to her, because I could open up to her, because it was like, man, I can't tell my mom this, or even though moms, we know our children. We can't hide anything from our parents.
Moms know everything.
Oh yeah, they do. But it was just like a mom has to discipline you. A mother has to tell you, right from wrong. That's just that's a mom. If a mom didn't care, then the child can do whatever. But with my grandmother, she opened up and she shared some things with me. Then I was able to share, but she made you feel so comfortable in sharing it.
Yeah,
when you spoke, and
that's
so
special.
It is very, very special, and that's why this has been instilled in me that women need that we have a voice and you need to be heard.
So for women who feel like they're speaking and maybe they're speaking to the wrong crowd, or, they have, let's just say a grandmother or a friend, and they're talking, but there's no reciprocation back. Right? Because that's the other half, right?
Yes.
I'm talking to you, you're talking to me, we're having a conversation. I'm pouring into you, you're pouring into me,
Yes.
and then we can both grow.
Correct.
But not every woman is able to have that opportunity. We can talk to someone, but are they listening?
Yes.
They hear you, but are they listening? We're talking to someone, and I'm sure plenty of our listeners can resonate with this. It's those maybe a friend that has to or feels obligated, or the sibling where it's like, yeah, I'll go talk to her, I'll what should we do as women to make sure that we have the right people in our circle?
Well, my pastor, he always, don't tolerate, because you can be invited, you could be around family, but you may not feel welcomed, or you could be around a group of people and, well, I had to invite you. Women can be undervalued. We can undervalue ourselves too, but that's where we have to find that courage inside of you to know who you are and whose you are. And talking about who can women go to, that's why I do what I do. I meet women one-on-one. My husband, I shared a little bit about my husband. He just purchased a she shed, and now I'm going to say it on live that I plan on starting my own podcast next year.
It's a big step. That's amazing.
It is. And so it's like the Lord telling me, it's like, okay, now you have your little casita. And now it's personal and private, but I also graduated, so I have my mentorship program. So I graduated in Dallas, Texas last year, and then an ordained minister as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so this is what I do. This is my purpose, and just having that listening ear
and making sure that people are have someone to listen to.
Yes, you listen, but really truly listen and appreciate, and let me tell you what you're worth.
Let me tell you what you're worth.
Yes.
What is a woman worth?
You're valuable. You're priceless. You're gold. The beauty. It's inner. What you have. It's on the inside. What is on the inside will eventually come out, right? If you have a hurt heart, if you have pain, like before, it was just, I wasn't feeling that. And so it would come out.
Okay. So what's inside comes out eventually. You said this.
Yes.
So if we're full of, this is a question, if we're full of goodness and joy and happiness, does that surface? Yes or no?
Yes.
If you're full of pain and hurt, or maybe sorrows, Does that surface as well?
You know, a lot of times, and I'm speaking for myself, we suppress it. We suppress it. We hold that in and hold that in, but you could still see it on your face. And so whether it be, you know, or and a lot of times people didn't even know, but I had a mask on. We wear masks. We hide very well.
You've had to hide before?
Yes. For many, many years, I wore a mask. And I could be out in public and, you know, dress really nice, but deep down inside, my heart was aching.
Wow.
Yes.
Does it ache now?
No.
That's wonderful.
It aches for women who are hurting, for women who are afraid. Again, women who don't know what to do or where to go or who to talk to. And I've been there, done that. And oh my gosh, this is probably like 30 years ago when it did come out, and it wasn't a safe place, but it came out into the wrong people or in the wrong place, and for others to gossip. One thing that I despise is a gossiper.
Yeah.
And that hurts you more.
Yeah, it does.
It hurts you more.
And I guess that does go back, before we close this first part, that does go back to advocating for yourself. And a portion of that is advocating to make sure that you have the right people in your circle.
Very important.
That's so, yeah, it sounds like that's one of those key parts to glowing like you. So we have Ernestina Smith with us here on That's What She Said. And gosh, we just covered so much insight in our first half. And we're going to dive just a little deeper into Ernestina. And we're going to talk about this mask, talk about hiding and how to overcome it, and then what's next. So stay tuned in to That's What She Said with me, Christiana Malacara.
That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara is back. Now let's spill the tea.
Welcome back to That's What She Said with me. I really appreciate you coming on back to the second half of this episode with Ernestina Smith. Ernestina has been in my life for a long time. Our families have integrated with each other in ways of faith and the Latina loyalty, food, culture, arts, all of it, worship, for three generations,
Yes.
nearly four.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
My grandkids.
Your grandkids and my
And your
kids. Yes. So the roots are deep and the roots are strong. And it's one of those things where I've always felt that people gravitate towards each other when they need to gravitate towards each other. And, and That's What She Said, we speak in chapters of life instead of seasons of life. And so, this is a chapter of life that we gravitated towards each other. There was this pull that was unavoidable. And I asked Ernestina to be on That's What She Said, because I wanted to learn a little bit more about her story, which we did in the first half. We were talking about teen pregnancy, overcoming barriers, pushing through things. I don't want to say overcoming, working through barriers, and then moving forward to goodness in empowerment of others. So what are some ways that you empower other women of the region?
Well, education, you can never have enough. It's like you're learning something every day. We're learning something, right? And so I'm an avid reader, and I just started. It's been a year that I joined the Rethke, the poetry. It was like a poetry
Poetry
course.
reading? Okay.
Yes. And so I've always wanted to write a book. And going back to journaling, you said journaling,
Yeah.
that is something that I've been doing for 30 years. And so I have books and books, and I just recently went through a lot of books, and I heard a lady say, don't ever get rid of your journals because that's your story.
Oh, I like that.
And one day I would love for my grandchildren to read my stories, because you're seeing grandma right now in her highlight of her life, okay, and enjoying her life, and then you just enjoying life. But you need to know it took a lot to get where I am at today, and you push through. You push through that. Going back to your question, I
How do
forgot
you
your.
empower other women of the area? And I think that I'm going to backtrack on that a little bit. Is we do get a lot of women saying, one thing I do is journal. If it's in the morning, at lunch, or in the evening, or, I just, even if it's jotting something down on a sticky note and later throwing it in my book. But we have yet to hear someone say, save those.
Yes.
That's your story.
Yes, that's your story. And so I do short stories. So I am doing short stories out of those journals. I'm doing short stories. So I'm going back reflecting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I make it? How did I get there? Oh my gosh. Wow, I forgot about that. And so journaling is really, really important to me. And how do I empower women? I share my personal life. I am very transparent. I am no longer ashamed. Ashamed is not of God. He didn't make a mess. Okay. He made a message. And all the stories that I have gone to have only gotten me again to this point where I'm at, where I can share them with other women to empower women. And that's basically what this is empowering women. And so in the community where it doesn't matter where I'm at, I can be at Walgreens, and I just, Lord, how are you going to use me today? Use me. I get rid of it's not about me any longer. It was when he was working through me, but now it's for others. And I cannot hold back when I see a woman in tears, or when I see you even angry, because behind that anger, there's a fear.
So when did this happen? This pivot almost of, I'm ashamed. I went through this. I don't want to share that, and in the first segment, we were talking about how you said you wore a mask.
Yes.
Jokingly, and I say this jokingly, but when I wake up and I put my makeup on in the morning, I call it my war paint, because I'm going out to go do the things, right?
Yes,
in some of those most uncomfortable places. But yes, I call my makeup my war paint, because we're putting on this mask at times. But when was that moment or series of moments where you decided, I'm no longer ashamed of this, let's pivot this and change this into a success story?
Yes, it was in the late 80s. I had two ladies, and if you recall earlier when I told you that I had a praying mom, my mother, she prayed for all her children, but I was that special child who needed special extra prayers.
A little extra sprinkles of prayer there.
And so, but because of that, and then there were two ladies who came knocking at my door, and they were from my church, St. Joseph's, and they were prayer warriors. And they came over, and that's when, and I was even ashamed to open the door, really, literally my door. And so when I did open it, and they asked if they could come in and if they could pray with me, and that's when it began. Wow. So it was in the late 80s. And then as I started going to church, because, then you're like, okay, if you're ashamed, then you're going to stay out of church. You're going to be here because so many people know you or label you and look at you wrong, or, and so that's
part of it.
That's part of it.
Wow. So stepping out of it wasn't even a comfort zone. It was just in the shadows, stepping out of the shadows, literally opening the door to an opportunity.
Yes.
Was challenging.
Yes.
to get through that challenge, what is a piece of advice? Just because I know, and I know I'm asking you for a lot of pieces of advice because I know you coach and you do these things.
Yes.
So what is a piece of advice for someone who is standing at the door and just doorknob in hand and they know the answers on the other side? They need a turn and pull. What is a piece of advice for her?
You know, there's this one song and it says that the Lord will knock down, he'll kick down that wall. He'll knock down that wall. He will find you, but you have to open that door. He's there. We're there, but you have to open it.
So do you think your faith-based journey began when you opened the door for the 2 women your mom sent?
That's the only way. I could not have done this without this was my hope. This was, there's one of my favorite scriptures in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. Seek first the kingdom of God, and then all these things will be added unto you. I am exceedingly abundantly above and beyond, living all that I could ever imagine. Is my life perfect? No one's life is perfect. Do I still go through things and challenges? Yes, but I'm never alone. I'm not alone. And I want to tell you and the woman who's listening, you are never alone. And contact me. I'll be more than willing.
There's comfort to that. There's comfort to not knowing that you're alone. Women at times, right? We're the mom or the grandma, and we're physically never alone. There's times where I just sit on the couch and all of a sudden I have 2 kids and a puppy and everybody's sitting on top of me, right?
But you could still be alone.
And you could still be alone.
Yes, ma'am. You can be in a marriage and alone.
That's okay. So that's where I was getting at.
Yes.
Was this sense of it's all me. It's all on me. I don't, I have people to talk to, like we said, we have people to talk to. We have physical people next to us, but that sense of just I'm on my own here.
Yes. And I feel that, and thank God that my husband is my best friend. He's not just my spouse or just my husband. He is my best friend, and he is one of my biggest supporters. He backs me up all the way. It's like, okay, like even now, when I walked out to come here, and he's like, oh, wow, and still after being together, for almost 48 years.
Oh my goodness.
42 years of marriage this year, and then 40 because he's my first love and we met in high school.
Yeah.
But again, he's my husband is my biggest supporter. He's my best friend.
Wow.
And so, but going back to that again, the mask or being alone and it's a horrible feeling. And again, you can be in a crowded home, you can be with a lot of people in your home, but you still feel it because a lot of times people don't understand you. And that's why I say that inside we suppress, but again, there's something inside. And I knew that there was more. I knew it. And at one point I had to separate myself, and I still do. I isolate myself just so I can hear.
Intentionally.
You
separate yourself intentionally.
I go away. I do take short trips. As a matter of fact, I'm holding a women's retreat. Okay. If anybody's interested in a women's retreat, I do hold I'm holding my very first women's retreat, and that's what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be sharing and pausing, opening up, reflecting, and because everyone's walking in a different. Everyone's in a different area in their life right now.
These chapters.
Yes, they're chapters. And again, and so whatever chapter you're in, it's something that I've either been through or another person who has been through. And that's where we come in and just share.
It sounds like a space to have like a good brainstorming session, right?
Yes.
So this is what I'm going through. Oh, I've been through this. Let me help you. Or this is what worked for me. This is what didn't work for me.
Yes.
So let's take a few steps back. So you are a mom and a grandma.
Yes.
Okay. That smile just ear to ear. And I know your family, but I know that you're very tight knit, right?
Very.
So we, and you have many sisters as well.
Yes.
And culturally, and Mexican families very close together. We see each other often.
Yes.
So having a circle of family so close, do you see this generational, I guess, love and empowerment through women in your family?
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, we have a group chat, a sibling group chat.
Oh man.
Yeah, we do. And so, like, whether it be a song, whether it be a scripture, or not so much a joke, but something to make us laugh or what have you, because again, no one's knows what's going on
Behind closed doors, really.
behind closed doors, and it just so happened that someone sent a song or that song, or that scripture, but we are so close, and again, it falls back on my parents. And the love that they have, that they had and have for us. And so one of the things, why my father and I had a really deep discussion in November of last year, and then again on my birthday in January, we had a really, really good discussion. And I just wanted to, I told my father how much I appreciated, because I turned 65, and it was like, oh my gosh, Dad, I feel like, this is like another big chapter. And so I just started sharing a lot of things on him being that father, that what it meant, what it means to me to have a father who loves.
Why did you feel that you felt like you had to share that with him?
My father's going to be 90. And I'm not going to wait till he's gone for me to tell my parents how much I appreciate them.
Do you do that with other people too?
Yes.
Why is that important?
One, you're being heard, you're being appreciated. When I say I love you or thank you, I really appreciate that. I'm honored. I mean it. Because I know when I wanted that and I felt that it wasn't sincere.
That's a good point. So I think that's how I started out the episode, was saying sometimes we don't say thank you enough, but we also don't hear it enough either.
Yes.
And, I know you and I are both familiar with love languages, but, you know, those words of affirmation and appreciation is a very, very strong love language across humanity.
Yes.
Quite literally. And that's a way to support someone without even knowing that you're supporting them.
Yes.
So I'm going to shift a little bit into this word support. You were uplifting others. You uplift them through just all ways of goodness, right? If it's coaching, if it's the upcoming retreat, if it's just like you said, if I see somebody at Walgreens, I was like, hey, I feel what you're feeling. What's going on? But what about you? What about Ernestina? Who in your life helps lift and support you?
My grandchildren look up to me, and my daughters. They're both very strong women as well. And they have, of course, both my husband and I, but then they also have themselves. And I love who they chose to be. And again, they're very strong and strong-willed. So I can communicate with my daughters. And now I have a granddaughter who is going on 16, and she reminds me of me.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
And she's a light.
Yeah.
And she's fun. And she loves to talk. And she, as a matter of fact, this is very emotional still. This week, I took her, I showed her where her great grandmother used to live on her father's side. And I said, hey, let's take a drive. So we went and grabbed something to eat, and then we were eating in the car. Well, on our way, we seen a woman on the streets crying, just crying so hard. And then she said, Grandma, look at Grandma. And I wonder what's wrong, And I said, okay, we're going to come back to that, because she knows her grandma.
Yep. And
she's just like picking right after me. So make a long story short, I did, and we looked at, and we went to her great grandmother's home, which is now empty. And so she just sat there. She's like, oh, and the stories. And I started telling her a little bit about what I knew. And so I said, okay, now come on, let's go look for the
Mhm.
you know, the
The
lady.
woman in the stream.
Yes. And so she was looking to the left, I was looking to the right, and then, Grandma, there she is. And I actually got out of my car. And then I just said, stay right here, because you're
You
not
never
sure.
know. Yeah.
And so, but this is who I am, and God backs me up. And when He backs you up, and I know, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I just went out and I just spoke with her, and she opened up with me, and I prayed with her. I asked her if I could pray with her, and I got her number. But just right there, and so my granddaughter seeing me do these
Yeah.
these things, and again, out in the community. But that's just who I am.
It is. It is. So,
Supporting.
and that's what she said. We use the term of invisible ripple effects.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. And, I kind of snagged up this term because we have a lot of listeners, and I don't know who's on the other end sometimes and receiving this information. And this term ends up being used, and that's what she said, because these acts of goodness, these acts of empowerment, kindness, and in this instance, prayer, who knows where that could end up.
Yes.
So to do the good, no matter what.
No matter what anyone says, just do it. And I know you're going to ask me a question, or if you have already, on
We're coming up to that, but I do have one more question before that.
yes.
What do you see is next for you?
I am so looking forward. Okay, so my husband and I, we leave for the winter. We just moved back. It was a couple of years ago from Texas. We left, and I was pondering on that also, and I wanted to share. There's back when the Lord took the people out of Egypt and they crossed the Red Sea, and I went from like the pit to the palace. Pit meaning in that dark, in that distress, to the palace of what I'm living in now.
Mhm.
The just enjoying the life that I am living now, whereas 30 years ago I didn't even really want to live. The world says, you made your bed and you lay in it.
Yeah.
And if you're around that, then you better believe it.
Yeah.
But if you are around people that help you grow, and people who believe in you, that's a big difference.
Yeah. It changes your perspective.
You do.
Your
Yeah.
mindset.
Yes.
The
and
way that you interact with others.
exactly. And shift, it's like a shift in your mindset. And that's what I chose. I chose to shift.
It's a hard choice.
Yeah. But like I said, you have to open that door.
Mm.
There's somebody there, just like, you how did you start out? You opened that door, and you had to see where it went. And I don't believe in you fail, but you get back up again. And we fall a lot, and who knows, maybe I have failed a lot in like direct selling business or what have you. But you know what? I got back up. I learned, and then I grew.
I am going to ask you the question, and I know that we probably have a layered answer, but what is a piece of advice that you would give to a woman of the Great Lakes Bay region?
Never give up. Never give up on yourself. There is something inside of you. Just let it rise, and don't wait. Don't wait. I don't care whether you're 15 or 105. Do not wait. Do not procrastinate, because someone else may take that idea or what have you from you. And that's one of the lessons that I learned. But you know what? I don't live in the past. I look for the future, but I'm also in the present.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on.
Thank
that
you
was
again for having
absolutely
me.
wonderful advice. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ernestina Smith, what she said. Thank you for tuning in, and we will look forward next week. So have a good day.